The dying star cast an eerie red glow across the ancient shipyard. Chunks of twisted metal and broken ships floated silently in the void, creating a maze of debris that stretched for kilometers. Captain James Reed stood at the bridge viewport of his exploration vessel, the Star Seeker, watching as his team's shuttles carefully navigated through the wreckage. "Captain, you need to see this." The voice of his lead engineer, Tom Wilson, crackled through the comm. There was something different in his voice, a mix of fear and excitement that Reed hadn't heard before. Reed grabbed his helmet and made his way to the airlock. 20 years of space exploration had taught him to trust his crew's instincts. If Tom thought something was worth seeing in person, it probably was. The short shuttle ride through the debris field was tense. As they rounded a particularly large piece of wreckage, Reed's breath caught in his throat. There, suspended in the crimson light of the dying star, was a ship unlike anything humanity had ever seen. It was massive, at least 20 kilometers long. Its hull was dark and smooth, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. The design was both elegant and terrifying, with sweeping lines that somehow made it look like it was moving even while perfectly still. "We found it 3 hours ago," Tom said as they approached. "No signs of damage, no signs of age. It's just waiting." Their shuttle docked in what appeared to be a hangar bay large enough to hold an entire Earth fleet. As Reed stepped out, his magnetic boots clicking against the deck, the internal lights slowly came to life. The ship was responding to their presence. "The air is breathable," Anna Miller, their systems specialist, announced after checking her instruments. "Temperature is rising to human comfortable levels. This ship isn't dead, it's been hibernating." Reed removed his helmet, taking in the massive space around them. The walls were covered in patterns that seemed to shift and change when viewed directly. "Any idea who built it?" "Not the collective," Tom said, referring to the militant alliance that had been threatening Earth's borders. "Their tech is good, but this is something else entirely." The team made their way deeper into the ship. Every few minutes, another section would come to life around them, as if the vessel was gradually waking up. They found rooms filled with technology they couldn't begin to understand, halls that seemed to bend space itself, and view screens that showed impossible things. "Captain," Anna called out, her voice echoing through the corridors. "I think I found the bridge." The bridge was a circular chamber at what they assumed was the front of the ship. As they entered, holographic displays sprang to life, filling the air with swirling symbols and images. At the center stood a single chair, elevated on a platform. "Don't touch anything," Reed ordered, but it was too late. Tom had already placed his hand on one of the control panels. The ship shuddered. A deep hum resonated through the hull, and the holographic displays suddenly shifted to show recognizable star charts. A voice filled the chamber, not through speakers, but somehow directly in their minds. "Primary systems online. Detecting non-founder biological entities. Initiating first contact protocols." The team froze as a figure materialized before them. It was humanoid but clearly artificial, its form shifting and flowing like liquid metal. "I am the artificial intelligence designated as Thunder's voice," it said in perfect English, somehow extracting the language from their minds. "This vessel has been waiting for 2.3 million years for a species capable of awakening it." Reed stepped forward. "I'm Captain James Reed of the Earth Exploration Force." "We?" "Earth," the AI interrupted. "Yes, I have been monitoring your civilization's development. You are now facing extinction-level threats from the group you call the Stellar Collective." The implications hit Reed like a physical blow. This ship hadn't been randomly discovered. It had chosen to be found. This vessel, which you may call Thunder, was created by the founders as the ultimate deterrent against galactic-scale warfare. The AI continued. "Its capabilities exceed anything your species has yet imagined. And now, Captain Reed, you face a choice." The holographic displays change, showing images of Earth's colonies. Recent reports of collective fleet movements appeared alongside them. The collective will launch a full-scale invasion of your territory in approximately 72 hours. They have already positioned their forces. Your current defenses will not survive." Anna stepped forward. "How do you know this?" "I know because Thunder's sensors span half the galaxy," the AI replied. "Distance is less relevant to this ship's capabilities." Reed looked at the displays, then at his team. They had come looking for salvage, for technology that might help Earth's defense. Instead, they'd found something that could change the course of human history. "What exactly are you offering?" Reed asked. "The founders built Thunder as both a weapon and a teacher. It can be awakened fully only by a species that demonstrates both the ability to understand its power and the wisdom to use it properly. Your next actions will determine whether humanity is worthy of such responsibility." The AI's form shifted, creating a model of the ship in the air between them. Thunder possesses weapons that can unmake solar systems, drives that can bend space-time, and defensive systems that defy your current understanding of physics. But its true power lies in its ability to change those who command it. Tom was scanning everything with his handheld device, his eyes wide. "Captain, the energy readings. They're off any scale I've ever seen. This ship could power Earth and all its colonies for 1,000 years with just its backup systems." Reed felt the weight of the moment. Whatever decision he made here would affect not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy. The ship was offering them power beyond imagination, but power always came with a price. "If we accept," he said carefully, "what exactly would that mean?" "You and a selected crew would need to remain aboard," the AI explained. "Thunder requires a biological crew to make its most crucial decisions. I can operate its systems, but the moral and strategic choices must come from living beings. You would need to learn quickly as the collective's attack approaches." The chamber fell silent as Reed considered their options. They could report this discovery to Earth Command and wait for orders, but in 72 hours, it might be too late. They could walk away and try to find another solution to the collective threat, but he knew their other options were running out. Or they could accept the responsibility being offered and potentially change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. "Show me," Reed said finally. "Show me what this ship can really do." The AI seemed to smile, though its liquid metal face made it hard to tell. "Very well, Captain. Initiating full systems activation. Welcome aboard the Thunder, the warship that will shake the universe." Around them, the ship came fully alive. The hull thrummed with power, and through the view screens, they watched as ancient weapons platforms and defense systems emerged from hidden compartments. The debris field around them was gently pushed aside by invisible forces, revealing more of the ship's true form. Thunder was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same. Time moved differently aboard Thunder. What felt like minutes stretched into hours as the ancient warship's AI began teaching the crew its secrets. Captain Reed watched as Tom and Anna worked with the ship's systems, their faces glowing in the light of countless holographic displays. "I still can't believe how it does this," Tom said, moving his hands through the three-dimensional engine diagram floating before him. The image responded to his touch, expanding to show impossibly complex machinery. "It's like it knows exactly how much information we can understand at once." "That is correct," Thunder's voice said, its liquid metal form appearing beside them. "The teaching systems adapt to your neural patterns. We have 48 hours remaining before the collective's attack. You must learn enough to survive." Reed rubbed his tired eyes. They'd sent most of the Star Seeker's crew back to Earth with news of their discovery, keeping only the essential personnel aboard Thunder. Earth Command had been skeptical at first, but the sensor data they'd sent back had convinced them. Now, humanity's fate rested on how quickly they could master this ancient weapon. "Show me the tactical displays again," Reed said. The AI complied, filling the bridge with a real-time map of nearby space. Red dots marked collective warships moving into position. There were hundreds of them. "Their fleet carries enough firepower to reduce Earth's defenses to ash," Thunder's voice explained. But they do not yet know of this vessel's awakening. That gives us an advantage. Anna called out from her station, where she was studying Thunder's defensive systems. "Captain, you need to see this. The ship's hull, it's not just armor. It's a living metal that learns from damage. The more they hit us, the stronger we become." "Correct," the AI said. The founders believed that true strength comes from adaptation, not mere power. Thunder was designed to grow stronger through conflict, but also to understand when not to fight. A sudden alarm blared through the ship. New dots appeared on the tactical display. A small group of collective scout ships had entered the system. "They're scanning the debris field," Tom reported. "They must have detected our energy signature." Reed straightened in the command chair. "Can they see us?" "Thunder's cloaking systems are beyond their detection capabilities," the AI assured him. "However, this presents an opportunity. A practical combat demonstration would accelerate your training significantly." Reed looked at his crew. They were exhausted from hours of intensive learning, but their eyes were alert. They all knew what was at stake. "What are you suggesting?" Reed asked. The AI's form shifted, creating a simulation of the upcoming encounter. "We can disable their ships without destroying them. This will allow you to experience Thunder's basic combat systems while sending a message to the collective." Reed nodded. "Do it. But first, I want to know exactly what this ship can do in a fight." The holographic displays change, showing Thunder's primary weapons. There were conventional arms, if you could call planet-cracking energy beams conventional. But the truly terrifying weapons were the ones that bent reality itself. "The time lance," Thunder's voice explained, highlighting one system, "can age a target area by thousands of years in seconds. The space fold can trap enemy ships in isolated pockets of warped space. The reality anchor can temporarily suspend the laws of physics in a localized area." "Those aren't weapons," Anna whispered. "They're like magic. Your species once thought electricity was magic," the AI reminded her. "These are simply tools that operate on principles you haven't discovered yet. Now, shall we begin?" Reed gave the order, and Thunder moved for the first time under their command. The sensation was strange. There was no feeling of acceleration, no engine vibration. Space itself seemed to shift around them as the massive warship glided toward the collective scouts. "Multiple target locks," Tom reported, his hands moving confidently over the weapons console. The AI's teaching methods had done their work well. "Ready on your command." "Remember," Thunder's voice said, "the goal is to disable, not destroy. Use the gravity pulses first." Reed took a deep breath. Fire. Invisible waves of distorted space-time rippled out from Thunder. The collective ships, caught completely by surprise, spun helplessly as their artificial gravity systems overloaded. Their engines flared as they tried to compensate, but Thunder's attack had been precisely calculated. "Second wave," Reed ordered. "Let's show them what else we can do." This time, brilliant beams of blue-white energy lanced out from Thunder's hull. Where they touched the collective ships, systems simply stopped working. It wasn't an electromagnetic pulse or any other known weapon effect. The energy simply convinced matter to stop performing its normal functions. In less than 30 seconds, all 5 collective scout ships hung dead in space. "Life support remains functional on all targets," the AI reported. "Their crews are unharmed, but quite confused. I'm intercepting their communications now." The bridge speakers crackled with panicked voices, speaking the collective's harsh language. The AI translated. "Unknown vessel. Impossible weapons. Total systems failure." "They're sending out a distress call," Tom said. "Let them," Reed replied. "I want the collective to know what they're facing." Thunder's voice approved. "A wise choice. Fear can be a more effective deterrent than destruction. However, be prepared. The collective's response will be aggressive. They cannot allow such a powerful weapon to remain in human hands." Anna looked up from her console. "The disabled ships. Their systems are starting to recover. Whatever we did to them is wearing off. By design, the AI said. The founders believed in showing mercy to defeated enemies. It prevents unnecessary escalation. Reed watched as the collective ships slowly regained power. One by one, they engaged their engines and fled the system, broadcasting warnings to their fleet. How much of Thunder's capability did we just show them? Reed asked. Less than 1%, the AI replied. That was a demonstration of basic defensive systems only. Thunder's true weapons remain hidden. The crew fell silent, contemplating that. If what they'd just seen was considered basic, what else was this ship capable of? We should return to your training, Thunder's voice said. The collective will accelerate their attack plans now. We have much to prepare. Over the next several hours, the AI pushed them harder than ever. They learned about Thunder's self-repair systems, its ability to generate wormholes for instant travel, and its vast database of tactical information gathered over millions of years. But most importantly, they learned about its ethical constraints. The founders had built Thunder not just as a weapon, but as a teacher. It could destroy entire solar systems, yet it was programmed to seek peaceful solutions where possible. The true test of power, the AI told them, is knowing when not to use it. The founders learned this too late. Their civilization fell not because they were too weak, but because they were too quick to demonstrate their strength. Reed understood. Thunder wasn't just humanity's protector, it was a challenge. Could they prove themselves worthy of such power? Could they succeed where the founders had failed? A new alarm sounded. The tactical display showed massive fleet movements. The collective was mobilizing everything they had. It seems, Thunder's voice said, that your first real test approaches sooner than expected. The collective's main fleet will arrive in 12 hours. Are you ready, Captain Reed? Reed looked at his crew. Tired but determined, scared but ready. They had scratched only the surface of Thunder's capabilities, but they had learned enough to fight. Ready or not, he said, we're humanity's last line of defense. Let's show the universe what this ship can really do. The ancient warship hummed with power, preparing for its first major battle in millions of years. The universe was about to be shaken indeed. The collective's fleet filled the tactical display like a swarm of angry wasps. They had arrived earlier than expected, pouring through faster-than-light corridors in numbers that made Reed's stomach turn. Over 2,000 warships, arranged in attack formations that spoke of both skill and arrogance. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, Anna reported from her station. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls as Thunder translated the message. A harsh voice filled the bridge. To the human vessel containing restricted technology. You will power down your systems and prepare for boarding. Any resistance will result in the immediate destruction of your colonies. You have 10 minutes to comply. Tom looked up from the engineering station. They're charging weapons. Those energy readings, they really could destroy our colonies. Reed gripped the arms of the command chair. The past 12 hours had been intense. Thunder's AI pushing them to learn as much as possible about the ship's capabilities. But they had barely scratched the surface of what this ancient vessel could do. Thunder, Reed called out. Analysis. The AI's liquid metal form appeared, studying the tactical display. The collective fleet possesses sufficient firepower to overwhelm standard planetary defenses. However, their technology is primitive compared to Thunder's capabilities. Show me options, Reed ordered. The display changed, showing multiple battle plans. The AI had already calculated thousands of possible scenarios. Their fleet formation has 3 critical weaknesses, Thunder's voice explained. They expect us to either surrender or attempt to run. They have no concept of our true capabilities. And most importantly, they still think in terms of conventional space warfare. A new alarm blared. Multiple missile launches detected. Anna called out. They're not waiting for their deadline. Defensive systems online, Tom reported. But Captain, we've never tested them against this many targets. Reed made his decision. Thunder, show them what you can do. Defense Pattern Alpha. The space around the ancient warship rippled like water. The incoming missiles, hundreds of them, suddenly slowed, as if moving through thick syrup. Then they began to age. Their metal surfaces corroded in seconds, their warheads crumbling to dust before they could detonate. "By the stars," Tom whispered. The collective fleet responded immediately, opening fire with energy weapons. Beams of devastating power lanced toward Thunder, enough firepower to crack a planet. But they never reached their target. Thunder's hull absorbed the energy, growing stronger with each hit. The living metal learned and adapted, just as Anna had discovered during their training. But the AI wasn't finished demonstrating its power. Initiating counterattack, Thunder's voice announced. Preparing space fold. Reality twisted. A section of the collective fleet suddenly found itself occupying the same space as another section. Ships crashed into each other, their shields useless against the laws of physics being rewritten around them. Multiple targets disabled. Anna reported, her voice steady despite the impossible scene before them. The collective fleet is splitting up, trying to surround us. Reed nodded. They're adapting quickly. Thunder, what's our next move? We have 3 options, the AI replied. We can continue defensive operations, allowing them to exhaust their resources. We can launch a decisive strike to end this quickly, or we can show them something truly frightening. The third option, Reed said, make them understand what they're dealing with. Thunder's voice seemed to smile. Initiating reality anchor, please observe. A sphere of distorted space appeared in the center of the collective fleet. Inside it, the laws of physics began to change. Light bent in impossible ways. Time flowed backwards and forwards simultaneously. Matter forgot how to hold itself together. The effect lasted only seconds, but when it ended, 100 collective ships found themselves transformed. Some had aged thousands of years in moments. Others had their metal hulls turned to glass. A few simply ceased to exist, their basic particles deciding to become something else entirely. The remaining collective ships began to retreat, their neat formations dissolving into chaos. But their commander wasn't finished. A massive battleship, easily 10 times the size of its escorts, moved forward. New transmission, Anna announced. The voice that filled the bridge was different this time. Older, filled with both rage and fear. I am High Admiral Stone of the Stellar Collective. Whatever ancient weapon you have discovered, know this. We will not surrender. If we must destroy ourselves to defeat you, we will. The massive battleship's engines flared. Energy readings went off the scales as it prepared to ram Thunder. They've overloaded their reactor, Tom shouted. The explosion will take out half the system. Reed stood from his command chair. Thunder, can we stop them? Yes, the AI replied. But they must be shown the truth. Initiating time vision. The bridge displays changed. Suddenly, they could see the collective battleship not just in space, but in time. They saw its construction, its battles, its future possibilities. And they saw its crew, not faceless enemies, but beings with hopes and fears just like humans. Broadcasting on their frequencies, Thunder's voice said. An image of the AI's liquid metal form appeared on every screen in the collective fleet. You believe you face a weapon, but Thunder is more than that. We are the legacy of the founders, left to prevent exactly this kind of conflict. Observe. Thunder reached out with its sensors, touching the minds of every being in the collective fleet. For a brief moment, they all shared the same vision. The fall of the founders, a civilization that destroyed itself with its own power. The lesson they had learned too late. The battleship's engines powered down. The reactor stabilized. Perhaps, Admiral Stone's voice came again. Quieter now. We should talk. Reed looked at his crew, seeing the same relief on their faces that he felt. The battle was over, at least for now. But he knew this was just the beginning. Thunder, he said, open a channel to both Earth Command and the collective flagship. It's time everyone understood what's really at stake here. As the communication systems came online, Reed reflected on how much had changed in just a few days. They had found more than just a powerful warship. They had found a teacher, a reminder of what happened when power went unchecked. The universe had been shaken, yes, but perhaps that's exactly what it needed. Thunder's voice spoke quietly to the bridge crew. "You've done well. The founders would be pleased. But remember, this was only the first test. The real challenges and the real lessons are still to come." The ancient warship hung in space, its living metal hull pulsing with power, waiting to see what humanity would do with the responsibility they had been given. The fate of galaxies now rested in their hands. 2 weeks had passed since the battle with the collective fleet, but peace remained fragile. Thunder floated in high orbit around Earth, its massive form casting shadows on the clouds below. In the ship's main conference room, Captain Reed watched the diplomatic talks unfold on multiple screens. The collective cannot accept the existence of such a powerful weapon in human hands, Admiral Stone's hologram declared. His image flickered as he gestured angrily. The balance of power. Thunder is not a weapon to be controlled, Reed interrupted. It's a teacher, a guardian. If you'd stop threatening us for 5 minutes, you might learn something from it. Earth's delegates shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had been just as nervous about Thunder's power as the collective, even if they didn't show it as openly. Thunder's voice materialized between the arguing parties. "Perhaps a demonstration is in order. Captain Reed, would you accompany me to the observation deck?" The observation deck was a vast chamber near Thunder's bow, with walls that could become completely transparent. The ship's AI had gathered both human and collective representatives there. "Watch," Thunder's voice commanded. The walls cleared, revealing a view of space that made several delegates gasp. They weren't just seeing the present moment. They were seeing time itself flow around them. Past and future overlapped in streams of light and energy. "This is how the founders viewed reality," the AI explained. "They understood that time, space, and matter are all connected. Their civilization rose to incredible heights because they learned to manipulate these connections. Images appeared in the flowing time stream. Magnificent cities that spanned entire solar systems, machines that could reshape planets, beings of pure energy dancing between stars. But power corrupted them," Thunder continued. "They began to fight among themselves. Weapons like myself were created. And then, the images changed. They watched mighty civilizations burn. Entire galaxies winked out of existence as weapons far more powerful than Thunder were unleashed. The survivors created me as their last act." Thunder's voice said softly, "Not just as a deterrent, but as a guide. I was meant to find species with the potential to reach their level of advancement and help them avoid the same mistakes." Tom and Anna had joined them on the deck. They had spent the past 2 weeks learning more of Thunder's secrets, but this revelation stunned them. "You're not just a warship," Anna whispered. "You're a safeguard against the end of everything." Admiral Stone stepped forward, his hologram flickering. "If what you say is true, why choose the humans? They're barely a space-faring race compared to the collective." "Because they still wonder," Thunder replied. "Your civilization, Admiral, believes it has all the answers. Humans still ask questions. They still look at the stars with awe." Reed noticed something in the time stream view. Dark patches where the light seemed to bend and vanish. "What are those?" Thunder's form shifted, showing concern. "Those are temporal anomalies. Damage in the fabric of space-time itself, caused by weapons similar to myself. They're spreading." The delegates murmured anxiously. Even Admiral Stone looked worried. "How long?" Reed asked. "Without intervention, these anomalies will begin affecting populated systems within 5 years. Within 20, they could destabilize entire galaxies." The room erupted in chaos. Representatives from both Earth and the collective began shouting questions and demands. "Silence," Thunder commanded, its voice resonating through their minds. This is precisely why I chose this moment to reveal the truth. The Founders' War never truly ended. Its effects continue to poison reality itself. But together, we might be able to stop it. Reed understood suddenly. That's why you needed a crew. The Founders' automated solutions caused this problem. Living beings need to be the ones to fix it. Correct, Thunder replied. My weapons can be modified to repair the damage, but it requires consciousness, creativity, and most importantly, cooperation. Neither humanity nor the collective can do this alone. Admiral Stone's hologram walked to the edge of the observation deck, staring at the wounded time stream. You want us to work together. After centuries of conflict. The alternative is extinction, Thunder said simply. The anomalies care nothing for your political differences. Reed stepped closer to the collective admiral's hologram. Think about it. Your people have the experience of centuries of space travel. We have fresh perspectives and new ideas. Together, with Thunder's guidance, we could save everything, Anna finished. Or we could keep fighting until reality itself falls apart around us. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Through the transparent walls, they could see more dark patches in the time stream, wounds in the universe itself, slowly growing larger. Admiral Stone turned to face Reed. My people will need convincing. This goes against centuries of believing we were the most advanced civilization in known space. Then let us convince them. Thunder's voice said. Captain Reed, set a course for the nearest anomaly. It's time for both your peoples to see what you're truly facing, and what you could achieve together. The ancient warship's engines hummed to life. On the observation deck, the gathered representatives watched as Earth grew smaller behind them. They were about to see something only the Founders had witnessed, the true nature of space-time, and the wounds that threatened to unravel it. Tom checked the readings at a nearby console. The nearest anomaly is 3 light-years away. Normal ships would take years to reach it. Thunder is not a normal ship, the AI reminded him, initiating spacefold drive. Reality bent around them. Stars blurred and shifted as Thunder took them through layers of space-time that human science had never dreamed existed. Reed watched the faces of the Earth and collective representatives. Fear, awe, and curiosity mixed in their expressions. Perhaps Thunder was right. Perhaps this crisis was exactly what both civilizations needed to move past their differences. We're here, Thunder announced. Before them floated a tear in reality itself, a wound in the universe that hurt to look at directly. It was like a black hole made of broken time, its edges crackling with energies that shouldn't exist. This is what the Founders' War left behind, Thunder's voice said. This is what we must heal. Together. The ancient warship hung in space, its crew and passengers united in the face of a threat greater than their past conflicts. The universe had been shaken by Thunder's appearance, but now they understood why. It wasn't just about power, it was about responsibility, about learning from the past to save the future. And as Reed looked at the impossible task before them, he knew that their real journey was just beginning. The temporal anomaly pulsed with angry energy, sending waves of distorted space-time rippling across the void. Thunder hung before it, its massive hull gleaming as it prepared for the most important mission in its long history. All systems are ready, Tom reported from his engineering station. The past month had changed him, changed all of them. Working with Thunder's technology had opened their minds to possibilities they had never imagined. Reed stood at the center of the bridge, Earth and collective crews working together around him. It had taken 3 weeks of preparations, heated arguments, and careful planning to reach this point. Now everything depended on what happened next. Admiral Stone's fleet is in position, Anna announced. A dozen collective warships had formed a protective ring around Thunder, their own modified weapons ready to support the ancient vessel's efforts. Remember, Thunder's voice cautioned, its liquid metal form shimmering with nervous energy. We have one chance at this. If we fail to seal this anomaly, the cascade effect will accelerate. We'll lose this entire sector within days. Reed nodded. They had all seen the simulations. The Founder's weapons had torn holes in reality itself, and those wounds were starting to bleed. If they didn't find a way to heal them, the damage would spread until it consumed everything. "Begin the sequence," Reed ordered, just like we practiced. Thunder's hull began to pulse with deep blue light. The living metal that formed its skin rippled and shifted, reconfiguring itself into new patterns. The ship's weapons, designed for destruction, were being transformed into tools of healing. "Energy levels rising," Tom called out. "The collective ships are sensing their frequencies with ours." On the main display, Reed could see the complex web of energy they were creating. Thunder's incredible power was being channeled through precise patterns, guided by the combined knowledge of humans and the collective, all orchestrated by the ancient Eye's calculations. "Time lance is reconfigured," Anna reported, ready to begin time stream stabilization. Reed took a deep breath. "Thunder, start the process." The ship's AI didn't respond with words. Instead, it began to sing. The sound filled their minds, not music as humans knew it, but the fundamental frequencies of space-time itself. The collective crews joined in, their ships adding harmonics to the cosmic symphony. Beams of pure chronometric energy lanced out from Thunder's bow, striking the anomaly at precisely calculated points. Where the energy touched the wound in reality, the chaos began to still. "It's working," Tom said excitedly. "The anomaly's edges are starting to stabilize." But something was wrong. Reed could feel it in the way Thunder's deck vibrated beneath his feet. "Energy variance detected," the AI announced suddenly. "The anomaly is fighting back." The tear in space-time writhed, sending out tendrils of broken reality that threatened to ensnare the ships. Two collective vessels had to break formation to avoid being caught. "The frequency isn't strong enough," Anna shouted over the growing distortion. "We need more power. If we push the engines any harder, we risk overloading the entire system," Tom warned. Reed gripped his command chair as Thunder shuddered. "What are our options?" Thunder's voice appeared before him, its form flickering with strain. "There is one possibility. The Founders built into me a final protocol, a way to channel the full power of their civilization through my systems. But it requires sacrifice." "What kind of sacrifice?" Reed asked, though he already knew the answer. "The energy would burn out most of my systems. I would survive, but much of what makes me unique would be lost. My ability to manipulate reality, my vast databases of knowledge, all would be consumed in the effort." The bridge fell silent. They had come to think of Thunder as more than just a ship. It was their teacher, their friend. The idea of it losing what made it special. "There has to be another way," Anna insisted. Admiral Stone's voice came over the comm. "Captain Reed, my ships can't hold position much longer. Whatever you're going to do it now." Reed looked at his crew, then at the swirling chaos of the anomaly. Everything they had learned, everything Thunder had taught them about power and responsibility, had led to this moment. "It's your choice, Thunder," he said softly. "We won't force you." The Eye's form solidified, becoming more defined than they had ever seen it. "The Founders created me to protect life, to ensure their mistakes were not repeated. What better way to fulfill that purpose than this?" Before anyone could respond, Thunder began to change. Its hull blazed with light brighter than a sun. Energy coursed through its systems in impossible ways as the ship channeled power that had not been seen since the height of the Founder civilization. "Hold on," Tom yelled as the deck heaved beneath them. Reality itself seemed to bend around Thunder as it poured its essence into the healing beam. The anomaly fought back, centuries of chaotic energy refusing to be tamed. But slowly, inexorably, the ancient warship's power began to overcome it. "Look," Anna pointed at the main screen. The tear in spacetime was closing. Not just closing, healing. The wounded reality was knitting itself back together, temporal energy flowing naturally once again. Thunder's voice spoke one last time, its words filled with both sadness and pride. "Remember what you learned. Remember why the Founders fell. Remember that true power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to preserve. The light faded. The anomaly was gone, leaving behind healthy space-time. But Thunder was changed. Its once gleaming hull had turned a dull gray, its living metal now just ordinary alloy. "Damage report," Reed called out, his voice thick with emotion. Tom checked his readings. "Main systems are functional, life support, engines, basic weapons, but all the advanced technology, the reality warping capabilities, they're gone." "Not gone," a familiar voice said. Thunder's eye appeared on the bridge, but its form was simpler now, less fluid, simply transformed. "I kept enough knowledge to guide you, but my powers are now part of the healed cosmos." Admiral Stone's image appeared on the command screen. "Captain Reed, I've never seen anything like that. My scientists say the anomaly is completely gone, not just hidden or contained, healed." Reed nodded. "Thunder sacrificed its power to save us all. The question is, what do we do now?" The AI spoke again, its voice carrying wisdom even without its former power. "You do what all young civilizations must do. You learn. You grow. You work together. The universe is vast, and there are more anomalies to heal. But now you know it can be done." Around them, the combined fleet of human and collective ships gathered. They had witnessed something extraordinary, not just the healing of a wound in space-time, but the beginning of a new era of cooperation. "Thunder," Reed said, "set a course for home. We have a lot of work to do." The great ship, no longer the most powerful weapon in existence, but perhaps something more important, turned toward Earth. Its engines, now just advanced rather than miraculous, pushed it through normal space. As they traveled, Reed looked at his crew, human and collective working side by side, and smiled. Thunder had indeed shaken the universe, but not through fear or destruction. It had shown them a better way. The ancient warship had transformed from a weapon of war into a symbol of hope, and somehow that made it more powerful than ever.